What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So unfortunately last weekend I wasn't able to release any content. My wife's parents were in town and I was just trying to be a good host and not lock myself out here in the garage all weekend. So now that they're gone, it is the next weekend and I have some time to work on the car. And I actually did get some stuff done this last week, which I'll share with you guys in just a minute. But before that, I just want to take a second to talk to you about my video quality in the last couple videos and just kind of apologize for it because I started editing on Sony Vegas Pro, a new platform for me, and I'm definitely working out the bugs with it. There's some certain settings on there that need to be right, and if they're not, you get this blurry kind of distorted video quality, which is not what I'm going for. When I watch a video on YouTube, I like it to be crisp, I like it to be clean. So I want to provide that same crisp and clean content for anyone who is watching my channel. So with that said, just know that these next couple videos will be looking better. Hopefully the audio and video are much sharper. So with that said, I'll show you guys what I got done on the engine this last week. Alright, so in the last video, I just had the bottom end loosely fitted up to this engine mount. As you can tell now, I got the head on there. If I take this valve cover off, you can see the head studs are all torqued down. I'm running ARP head studs and a JE Pro Seal head gasket. So hopefully we can send some boost through this thing without blowing the head off. I was waiting on the water pump, which came in the beginning of this last week. So I got that installed along with all the other timing components, excuse me. So everything's been mechanically timed, and the only thing I really have left to do with the timing is to adjust this belt tension, which I have a bolt down there. I can access it. So some things we got to do still. I got to set the valve lash on all these valves, and when I got this thing back from the machine shop, I don't know if you can see it. I think you can. This crack right here, they said when they were torquing these bolts down, it cracked this. So I don't think that it's that big of a deal. I'm guessing I can just go ahead and weld it and it'll be fine. It's not like it's the head caps where the tolerances really need to be to spec. This just holds the LMAs in place, so should be fine. Just gonna send it. So yeah, I need to do that as well as pull off the clutch and flywheel from the old engine. This clutch and flywheel are fairly new, so I'm just going to rerun it and need to get this transmission bolted into place. So yeah, that's the plan of attack. So let's get it. All right, so I got the clutch and flywheel on there. Car is in the air, so I'm ready to stab the transmission back onto the engine, but before I can do that, I have to replace this throwout bearing, because if you can see that on the side, this one's got a little deformity to it, so I want to replace that guy. Still waiting on it to show up today. Looked on Amazon, said it was going to be there later this afternoon, and it still has not shown up. Would you look at that? Japan. That's the good stuff. All right, so I went to install this throwout bearing, and I was like, oh shoot, this thing is the wrong one, because if you look, you can see that these are two totally different sizes. But what I ended up doing was I took this end off the good bearing, and I took this piece off of the old bearing, and I was able to pry up these little tabs, and then put this old one on the new bearing, and it was either the greatest idea ever or the worst idea ever. So we'll find out how long this thing lasts, but I'm pretty stoked because I thought that I was gonna have to order another throwout bearing. Now comes the fun part.
Yeah, Daniel-san, come to me, Daniel-san. Let me show you the way. Bless me, VTech gods. Oh, this is not fun. It is okay. I will have you. Nemesis. I will have you.
All right, so it is the next day, and I spent about an hour trying to wrestle this thing in. I have been able to successfully lift it up and stab the transmission back in before, but last night just wasn't my night. So what I got going on here now is I rigged a little chain fall up to the beams up there and hooked it into the transmission, and I'm just gonna crank it up, and then it'll be hovering in the air, and then it'll be much easier to stick it in there, hopefully. So let's try. Well, it ain't stupid if it works. Got the transmission on in like 5 minutes, as opposed to sitting down there and struggling with it. Slid right in. So good little hack. If you got a chain fall, I obviously wouldn't hang the entire engine from this. The transmission is probably less than 100 pounds. So these beams can support that. And yeah, good little hack if you got a chain fall. Transmission is in, and now I'm just going to pull this LMA thingy off and get this crack welded and slap it back on there. Got the LMA holder all welded up. I'm pretty happy with it. Cast aluminum is hit or miss, and I felt like this one went pretty well. So I'm gonna chalk it up to a win on that one. And I still need to set valve lash on the engine, but I'm just gonna do that off camera. It's a pretty boring process. I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video, so stay tuned and I'll catch you on the next one.